I don't know if you were at the opening session of Virtuoso Travel Week this year.
I
Does it,
literally opened the opening session of Virtuoso
okay,
Travel
okay,
Week.
I may
So
have
yeah,
missed that.
glad it was
But we
memorable.
had the most amazing keynote people. Will Guidara was there.
It is coming back to me now.
Okay,
Will
good.
was our highest rated keynote ever at Virtuoso Travel Week at a 9.5. And he really focused on how you could humanize the exceptional through unreasonable hospitality.
Yeah, I know many of you were
Yeah.
inspired. You bought the book for your teams. You did it yourself. Yeah.
And then when he heard that we were getting together here in Seoul, he offered the chance to jump on the phone with a couple of us.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Very cool.
I was thinking as we introduce Will, Will, how long has it been since Virtuoso Travel Week?
It's been 8 months since I was in Las Vegas for Virtuoso Travel Week, and yet the feeling that I left that event with still lingers with me. I've been incredibly lucky to spend time with so many companies at different conferences since the book was released, but I can count on one hand the groups with whom I felt such a sense of belonging, the moments where I felt I was truly in a room with my people, people who believe, as I do, that how we make people feel matters just as much, if not more, than whatever we serve them. And well, to be a part of that community, it was nothing short of extraordinary. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity.
I hear there's something new that's out from Will. Like
Yeah.
people got a registration, like their badge.
Yeah, exactly. With the badge.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, Matthew already gave you. But Will liked our network and us so much that he gave us pre-publication access to his new book that doesn't come out until the 29th of April. So you should have all gotten that at registration if you wanted it. And so we hope that you've had a chance maybe to look at it.
Okay, and we're going to dive deeper on that book today and actually get a chance to do hands-on with the field guide. And we're going to actually start here. Now, Jennifer, the field guide, let me kind of break it down for you, is really taking the concepts of unreasonable hospitality and breaking them down into individual.
Need to be mansplained to about the field guide and what it is. So thank you for that.
Okay.
I'd rather hear from
Thank
Will.
you for
on
checking me.
the book.
Okay, let's
rather
ask,
than-
why don't we just ask Will? Will, why did you write the book?
As I've traveled, it's been amazing to see so many different people connect with the ideas in unreasonable hospitality. And yet, as I've traveled, there's been one question I've received more than any other, which is centered around how do we actually bring it to life? And those questions led me to want to write this book, because if unreasonable hospitality is the why, this field guide is the how. This is me laying out in a very structured and organized way how any company, regardless of industry or size, can truly bring to life a culture of genuinely unreasonable hospitality. And I believe the more companies that do that, the better the world will be. So I was inspired to want to really give the blueprint.
We hope you had a lot of ideas about what hospitality means, so we're getting the wheels turning. Jennifer, how do you define hospitality?
David, no one cares how we define hospitality.
Okay, you're right. Yeah.
Maybe they would be interested to hear from Will.
Okay, so Will, how do you define it? Is there a quote sometimes, Will, that you use to describe hospitality?
The quote that I reference often is the one from Maya Angelou. People will forget what you say, they will forget what you do, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And I believe that to be so very true. When I think about the experiences that truly linger with me, they don't linger because of some technical detail that someone executed at a high level. They linger because of something small or big that a human being did for me. Something that made me feel seen, that gave me that sense of belonging. And yet, in spite of the fact that those actions are the ones that will leave the most lasting memories, most companies reserve their best efforts only for the product or service they sell. I like to challenge leaders to rethink their approach to hospitality, because too many of them are not giving as much of themselves to how they make people feel as they should. And yet, if you make the choice to be relentless, if you make the choice to do whatever it takes to be unreasonable, to come up with beautiful ideas at the intersection of creativity and intention, not only does it feel good, not only does it make the work more fun, but I really do believe it's the greatest competitive advantage any business can have. I like to challenge people to choose to care more, to choose to try harder. And every time they do, they always reap the benefits of having done so.
So we're supposed to think about a truly great hospitality moment we received in our life, a very specific one.
Right. And I've
Um,
got five in my mind right now.
you do.
So how do we narrow
Maybe,
it down?
I think, why don't we ask Will? Will, is it hard for you to pick one example?
I mean, it is hard to pick which story of hospitality is my favorite because many of them articulate different lessons that I believe are so important in bringing a culture to life. One that happened not too long ago, though, is something that I've been thinking about quite a bit recently. I was in Palm Beach and I was staying at a hotel there with my wife and she was 3 years old, daughter at the time. My wife is a pastry chef. And so in our family, we travel for dessert. And the Breakers down there is celebrated for its key lime pie. And so one day we left the hotel we were staying at. We drove down. We went to the Breakers to go have some dinner, only so that we could eat the key lime pie. And as we're pulling up to the Breakers, anyone who's aware of that hotel knows that it kind of looks like a Disney castle. And so as we're pulling up to the hotel, and my daughter said, "Daddy, is this where Elsa lives?" Referencing Elsa from the movie Frozen. Now, I was a new dad at the time. And so in a moment of stupidity, I said, "Well, yeah, babe, of course, this is Elsa's house," thinking we are now done. We walked into the hotel, though, and she turns to me and she says, "Well, let's go meet Elsa." And I was like, shoot. So we walk down through the lobby, back through the corridor, and we go to the restaurant. And as the maitre d' is seating us, I cheat ahead with him a little bit. And I said, "Hey, bud, I need you to do me a favor. In 30 minutes, can you please come back to the table and say to my daughter, Frankie, that you're so sorry. Elsa's actually on vacation. She's not around to see you, but she sends her regards." And he says, "Yeah, I got you." He did come back 30 minutes later, but he did something even more. Somehow he had found a place to buy a tiara and a little magical princess wand. And he goes to my daughter and he gives her those two gifts. And he says, "Miss Frankie, Elsa's away on business, but she's so sorry she missed you. And she wanted to give you these gifts as a way of saying how much she appreciates you." And my daughter's face lights up like nothing you have ever seen. The reason I love this story so much is because when you write a book called Unreasonable Hospitality, you are often on the receiving end of pretty beautiful hospitality. It is a perk, for sure, not something I take for granted. And yet, that gesture meant more to me than almost any other because sometimes the best way to love on somebody is to love on the people they love.
So, David, I was thinking about it, and I love that unreasonable hospitality really is exactly what automate the predictable and humanize the exceptional is all about. Because Will reminds us that when the fundamentals are consistent, so when you have systems and processes and standards that take care of the routine in your business, you're free then to do what truly matters. So to be present, to notice, to create moments that feel personal and unexpected. And that, I think, really delivering unreasonable hospitality allows us to move beyond delivering a service and into creating something meaningful. And that's when the magic happens.
I just wonder about this, asking Will maybe again. Will, do you think there's a lot of people that misunderstand what hospitality is?
I think a lot of people misunderstand what hospitality actually is, or at the very least, how to create a hospitable culture within their companies. So many people think just go out and hire friendly, bubbly people, and then you've created a culture of hospitality. And that is definitively not the case. Hospitality is a craft. It is a muscle you can strengthen, a culture that you can pursue. And like any craft that you are pursuing, it requires deliberate focus and the systems that can support it. That's the spirit of this entire book, is showing people that it is something you can build, but it requires intention and persistence and determination. Creating a culture of hospitality, it is a process. And I've broken it down into these 5 subcultures to make sure that people are successful in their efforts and so that they know the approach they need to take in order to do it. To create a culture of excellence, to create a culture of communication, one of collaboration, one of feedback, and one of repair, because all of those things are required to create a culture where hospitality is sustainable and exceptional. And you can't do it without all of them.